So, the Travis Waterman thing, ultimately, is that good for racing or is that bad for racing?
I think it's great.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't see any
Great.
way it could be perceived as bad for racing, actually.
Well, listen, we've always said, right? It's like wrestling, right? You
Yeah.
need good guy, bad guy,
Yeah.
right? You need entertainment. That's what it's about. And they're duking it out, though. They're not just make believing.
Yeah.
They're really duking it out.
Well, I saw some people were like, almost like Travis should be no surprise to him. He should have known it was coming.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I agree with that, but the common thread through all of it was like, it was still a great show.
Right.
And
It got people standing up.
right.
That proves that it was good. When the whole crowd is standing up going crazy, you did something right.
But I
If you
mean-
don't want contact in racing, you can go watch F1, and then nothing will happen.
That's a
Damn.
beautiful way to put
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Well, there's a contingent of fans out there that will say, you know, rubbing is racing is the detriment to the sport, and that's not real racing. And, you know, I remember when Waterman did the classic bump and run on Galvin 10 years ago,
Yeah.
and there was people that said, you know, that's a Bush League move. That's not how you race for the win, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, my favorite part of that video, your brother was sitting up there with us. Glenn Pressel was there.
Yeah.
And after that happened and they crossed the line, I just stayed there. Jesse just stayed with us. And we were all just like stunned, like, wow. And then your brother goes, wow. And then Glenn looks back at the camera. Did you see that? And I'm like, oh my God, that was awesome. Like, that's
Right.
exactly what you want. When
Well,
you go,
dude,
you know what I mean?
like the real racing comment, like what is real racing? Like there's no
Yeah.
objective real racing. You want to put on a show, and you want moments that people remember. And if you look at all the moments throughout auto racing history that people remember, you got the 1979 Daytona 500 fight, Dale dumping Terry, rattling his cage, the Darlington finish. Like those are all high contact moments.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that people remember. Are the ones where the stakes feel like they're truly elevated.
I mean, I don't want to sound like people are there for the fights.
No, I'm just using it as an example
But I mean,
because that
listen,
was started
did,
with a wreck.
did you see the fights this week at Bowman Gray with the late models and stuff? Did you see any of the footage?
No.
Oh, dude, they were climbing over each other.
Those were egregious.
They were like
Those are outright
they're
intentionally
running
dangerous.
across the infield after each other, then run to the flag stand. It's a complete spectacle, and they're serious though.
Yeah, right.
They're seriously pissed, and the place is going nuts.
Going nuts, right.
There's a big fight in the stands, knocks a bleacher over. I mean, it was like
That's crazy.
like mayhem, right? And that's why they call it the Madhouse. All I'm saying is, we said early in the year, every track needs a Waterman. Right? Didn't we not say something like
no,
that?
That's one of your early
And-
reels, yeah.
And
100%.
look what's happening. He's putting people on the edge of their seats right now, including Travis Hydar, who is, I have the utmost respect for, is a hell of a good racer. And he is making Travis Hydar almost race like him a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's almost making it because Hydar's probably like sick of his crap at times.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is just what, you want to race like that? This is how we're going to race.
Almost, not quite. I
Not
wouldn't say
quite.
not quite.
No, I'm
But
not-
Yes, you're right. It has been definitely cranked up noticeably this year
Right?
with them.
I'm interested. I mean, if I know Stafford, Tom Fox, and the race directors there are probably putting those guys on notice right now. Don't do that again, Waterman. You guys, let's run a clean ship here, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to not let those guys duke it out because they are putting a hell of a show on.
Yeah,
Would
and
you
I'm
be-
not even. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Remy.
Would you be shocked if Hydar did like a little retaliation?
I would be totally
I
shocked.
would be so shocked. That doesn't fly at Stafford.
Well, it doesn't fly for him.
Right.
But,
I'm
Right,
just
That's
saying.
not
yeah.
high. That's
But-
not
It's
Hydar's
not.
It's
style.
not saying like full on like wreck him and all damage like we'll never be able to race again. But it's more of like same scenario.
Well,
Come on.
that's a real.
No, we're rooting for you. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Scenario.
No, go ahead.
Scenario.
All right.
Scenario.
You got it. You got it.
Oh.
So you were talking about Bowman Gray, right? And how they're driving across the infield and crashing each other. Like, I'm not trying to say with my previous statement that crashes are what bring people in. Like, crashes are what we should use to grow the sport. I think that the ability of the drivers and then being able to go at it with that level of aggression and keep it straight is really what makes it compelling. Like, if they had just wrecked earlier in the race in lap 7, it would have just been a whatever moment. But because they were going at it so aggressively and they kept it straight the whole time, that's what kept people, in suspense on the edge of their seats.
I could tell you this: the 10 laps prior to that, there was a lot of suspense happening.
That was great,
dude. You could almost, you could feel the tension from my couch.
I was pacing around in the trailer.
Right, I'm watching it. I was bound to text you. I was going to text you because I know you were watching replays and stuff. But the show that what happens if he doesn't spin out Hydar? Are we still talking about it today?
Yeah.
I think so. I think if he doesn't spin out Hydar, I think if he moves Hydar up the track there and they both keep it straight, we get a really close finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably talking about it just as much.
Yep,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's too bad that the outcome happened that it happened.
I'd almost prefer it had been the other way, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I mean, let me put it to you this way. I know they're a supporting division, right? And on the totem pole, they're at the bottom at Stafford. If you were to, put the divisions in order.
Yep.
But is there a better rivalry at any of the 3 tracks than those 2 right now?
Oh, it's awesome.
I don't think so. Not
It's
currently.
so good.
It's so hold on a second. What we have talked about in the past is tracks are missing personalities.
Yeah. And this is exactly what.
This is what we want.
Exactly.
This is all we want.
It's truly remarkable what we're watching.
Yeah.
Because we need more. I
mean, you guys know, like, I don't know. I just met Travis at the Sizzler. I've known Ryan because he came from the Speedbowl, but
You never met Travis?
not before the Sizzler, no. I know.
Wait,
weird.
this year's Sizzler?
Yeah, you got to remember, I've only been to Stafford once since 2019, so I just didn't go up there.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But do those guys genuinely not like each other?
I gotta assume that's trending that way. I mean, how do you feel good about each other right now?
It's certainly trending that way now, but I feel like when I talked to Hydar in mid 2023, he was just super composed. He that was why I was saying he's like the yin to Waterman's yang. He just seemed so composed and so clean.
Yeah.
And had such a respect for everyone that I could never see him as that guy to hold a grudge.
Right.
But now it's gone on for so long that I'm starting to wonder, yeah, they're definitely banging doors more than they were last year.
I thought Hydar was very aggressive.
For his standards, absolutely.
He was very aggressive Friday.
Yeah.
So that's why the outcome didn't surprise me because, listen, I'm not saying you have to be scared of Ryan Waterman.
Right.
But if you're going to do that to Ryan Waterman in 1 and 2, he's on the outside of you down the backstretch. If I'm on the inside, I'm lifting way early. Especially when I seen him back up, you know what's happening.
Yeah.
Right? Hydar knew what was happening. He should have... In hindsight, it's easy to look back, but I would have been thinking that retaliation, I would have hung Waterman outside of me. I would have made sure, I don't care if I had to go 20, that I seen his fender all the way into 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Because I used to do it to Ted and Keith all the time. I didn't want them behind me. If I had to lift early and hit the brakes harder, I did to make they had to go I got to go.
Yeah, right.
But
Right?
I did last year, even in victory lane, say Travis won and then Waterman was second, each time they would shake hands. It was, to me, I felt like there was no bad blood. Guarantee if it's 2 years, would you get more pissed off? What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like this last year, though.
No, that's why I said
It wasn't to this
I
level.
wasn't surprised by the finish because I thought that the 11 was running him way more aggressive than I've ever seen. First, when he climbed up over the top of him. Now, I think Hydar is a really good driver,
Yeah.
right? So for him to miscalculate and drive over the top of the car coming off a 2, that very well could have been a spin right there, and they both went to the back.
That could have been a flip.
Right.
I was screaming in the trailer when that happened.
He was on top of him, right? And then he hits him again through 1 and 2 to take the lead. You know what kind of person Waterman is. What did you expect was going to happen?
Yeah. No, that didn't surprise me at all that he turned him around there.
Yeah.
In terms of the rivalry, though, I mean, I think that's I'm just trying to think if I'm missing one. We had a little something with with Ray and Jason in the late models, but that's
Yep.
gone, and I don't even think that got to this level.
No way.
And there's no like Todd Owen doesn't really have a rival, a direct rival, right?
Nope.
Ron Silk and Justin Bonsignor, maybe. I mean, they definitely have a rivalry.
Yeah.
And it did get a little chippy last year, but I don't.
Is this one better than the Tyler Chadwick Keith Rocco?
Okay, so can I tell you something funny about that?
All right, yeah, I'm ready.
I thought that now again, Tyler's a good friend of mine.
Yep.
And so I was always rooting for him to do well against Keith. And I've told Keith this, like, listen, dude, it's a better story if somebody beat you. I mean, you were just dominant,
Right.
And Keith did his part into winning in all these weird different ways and winning in all different divisions. He was highly entertaining, but it was better when he got beat, right? Your brother did it once.
Yep.
Craig Lutz did it once.
Yep.
He had great battles with Bruce and Dylan Moltz, and him and Tyler went at it several times. So I was doing the Speedbowl documentary, and I was interviewing Matt Buckler, and I asked him, what did you think about the battles that Keith and Tyler had? Did you think that was a pretty intense rivalry for the Speedbowl? And he says, I don't really think that they had a rivalry. He's like, when I think of Tyler Chadwick, I think of him, his rival is Diego Monahan. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? I said, yeah, but you know that when Tyler started, Diego was his crew chief. Diego wasn't even racing. And he says, oh, yeah, but I always know that they were always battling. And it's always been mind-boggling to me. Like, dude, you've called every race during Keith Rocco's whole run. Did you not see the epic battles that him and Tyler had?
Oh, they put on some shows.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
And the thing, that rivalry always fascinated me because Tyler was a Speedbowl guy.
Yeah.
He went to Stafford once, didn't qualify. He just didn't do there. He raced 2014 up at Thompson, and he really wasn't that good up there either.
Right.
But at the Speedbowl, he was nasty.
Oh, yeah.
And he won a lot of races, and he would run on the outside.
Oh, yeah.
And he hung with Keith a couple times.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah. And when you beat Keith, there was only a few people. Like I just said, those races, that's it. Tyler a couple times.
Yep.
Your brother once, Craig Lutz once, and that's it. Otherwise, when Keith got to the lead, it was over. You know, I mean, I know you did battles with him too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, you had one with him and Teddy behind you.
Oh yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
But it's a short list. Is my point.
Short list. Yeah.
So I always thought that Tyler got somewhat short-sighted on that because Keith was great at all the tracks and Tyler was just a Speedbowl guy.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that we talked about this 0 point. They had a race 0.001 seconds. Was Tyler Chadwick and Keith Rocco finish at the bowl.
Who won it?
Side by side. Keith won it on the outside. Then they had one, I think it was the 5K race, the Bud Nats, the Tyler one. I think he held off Keith. Mm-hmm. He held off Keith on the outside a couple times.
Yeah. Tyler was good up top.
Yeah, he was real good up top.
Yeah.
Yep. But even that, like Todd and Eric, even this little tire gate thing that they had going, like unless you're in the know, in the behind the scenes, like nobody's promoting it. You don't really know about it.
There's a small one with Bavalaco and Garside, even though they may be
they're
friends.
buddies. Oh no, maybe they are friends. They pit next to each other.
Did you see him on the chat? The king is here.
Yeah.
Like, oh
dude, he
my
was
God.
going crazy in chat. It was so
It's
funny.
so great.
So
It's
funny.
I love how he just does not give it. It doesn't.
His comments on Facebook.
Yeah.
Are you guys friends with him?
Yeah.
Oh, he does not give a shit.
It's
He
so
messaged
great.
me during it was yesterday, I believe, and he was like, "You're going to tell them how I won, right?"
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, of course.
He did,
The general consensus is that he won, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Not my
But
call.
in terms of rivalries,
It's Hydar and Waterman.
Hydar and Waterman, but I think Silk and Bonsignor, now it has not been as intense out of the gate as these guys have been out of the gate, so it's not as fresh. But you can't, I mean, those guys went at it last year. And they're clearly the two best full-time racers on the tour.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested to see this Riverhead race because that's Bonsignor's home track.
But I think Silk is that good because when he was with the 85,
Yeah.
that was literally an MRS team.
Yeah.
That they brought to the tour.
Yeah.
And were winning.
Yeah.
That good.
Yep.
And now him with their crew chief, they're really clicking on all cylinders right now. How do you beat those guys?
Dude,
Yeah.
I was thinking that when they took the lead in that race, I'm like, who's beating this?
Dude, so did you see him fall back early?
Yeah.
Fell back to like 4th or 5th. He was like 10 off.
Yeah.
In like 4 laps. He's looking for the lead.
Yeah.
And then gone.
I got the sense he was just saving his stuff a little bit at the start, like just feeling it out.
Yeah,
make
but
sure,
I
make sure all
think
the brakes work, everything's great. All right, go.
I don't think so. I think that it just took a minute to get the tires up because they were passing him a little bit. He fell back to like 5th, right early on, the very green flag. Yeah. And then as soon as the tires came in, it was like, I'll see you guys later.
It was such a casual win.
Just to wrap it up, other than those two, nobody else really comes to mind, right? The Speedbowl has nothing when it comes to rivalries.
You know,
I mean,
there is
Brody had a little something with Chapman last year in the trucks, but
there's a rivalry though in the streeters
between
like Gator Key and
the street models. Yeah,
the 12. There's some tension there,
yeah,
right? I mean, there's some little tension. It's like.
I mean, I agree in the sense that like there are guys that definitely compete for the same space in terms of like the points battles and like generally where they run on the track. But I feel like there's no two guys that get together on the same spot on the track where I go, oh boy, as much as Hydar and Waterman.
Yeah,
and it's really Waterman.
Yeah, I mean, but when I see him around Hydar, I'm like, whoo, okay, I guess we gotta be on our feet here. Like,
yeah, and the only other thing that I come even remotely close to that is Justin and Silk on the tour.
right, and even that's I feel like nowhere.
That's a
near
great
as extreme.
piece to talk about, though, Sid.
Yeah.
The rivalries are just
Yeah,
fantastic. It's great for the sport. It needs more of them.
yeah, I agree.